Thank you so much for coming tonight, for braving the weather. My name is Greig Ewing. I'm the Acting Director of Enrollment for Rundle. It's so amazing to see so many faces here. When you set up an event like this, you're always worried that no one will show up. That is a natural thing. And then we get a snowfall warning, and that worry goes through the roof. So thank you for braving the roads and the weather to be here. My purpose tonight is really simple. It's really just going to give you an overview of the application process for Rundle College. I'm going to give you an overview of what that looks like, what to expect. I'm going to answer some of the frequently asked questions. But if there are other things that you are looking for that you don't hear from me, please don't hesitate to raise your hand at the end and ask a question. I'll take some audience questions as well. Quite a short presentation, actually not a presentation at all, quite a short chat, about 25 minutes this evening. And then I'll let you guys continue to explore. We will have a student live presentation happening afterwards, so if you're curious about what happens at Rundle in terms of the experience our kids have, then please don't hesitate to stick around. So, obviously right now we're sitting in Rundle College in our Conklin building. This is our grades 7 through 12 building. We're incredibly proud of what we have here, not just in terms of a facility, but in terms of the community that we have. We have over 500 students in this building. We have 1,229 students specifically at Rundle overall. And sometimes people ask me, well, what is Rundle? Rundle spans Rundle College, Rundle Academy, and Rundle Studio. Rundle Academy and Rundle Studio are for students with a diagnosed learning disability from grades 4 to 12 and 7 to 12 respectively. And Rundle College is a university prep school for students in kindergarten to grade 12. Okay. Every year we graduate about 84 grade 12 students, and we start with 45 kindergarten. So oftentimes the question comes to me from an enrollment perspective of how many kids you take every year. I say, well, it's kind of a difficult question to answer. It's not a hard and fast rule. It depends on a few different variables. But ultimately, between kindergarten and grade 12, you can imagine there's around 40 spots that are added, okay, at strategic times. Okay? If you're looking for the exact number of students that we will take in any available grade, I can happily give that to you, but it's also on our website. So we try to have a predicted availability, and we update that almost weekly, certainly in the spring, when things change. Okay. For me, I'm really fortunate. I have a team of 5 that are kind of hands-on with our families who are applying. And our goal is to get to know you individually, and try to make sure that we're understanding your application as a unique application as opposed to just being a number. That's something that I really pride ourselves on as a team, or we do. It's something that Rundle does as well. So even when your students are here, or your children are here, we want to get to know them, okay? Because really the days of just one-size-fits-all education are beyond us. They're gone, okay? We know that. We know that the public system does an amazing job at catering to the majority, and that's not a criticism at all. I work the public system myself, and it's a real uphill task. But we're really fortunate here at Rundle. We have maximum class sizes of 15, okay, through our school. So, you know, I always say to kids, there's nowhere to hide, okay? Lots of time for kind of absorption of knowledge and of teaching and learning. Every year, we take around 140 new students in Rundle College between kindergarten and grade 12, okay? So that kind of gives you a little bit of an understanding of how many students kind of leave us too. So very few. Our retention sits at 96%. So that's a really important statistic for us because it tells us that we're doing a good job. Okay? It tells us that our families are happy. We have a lot of families who start with us in kindergarten who go through all the way to grade 12. We call them lifers, all right? And we use them a lot because we're really proud of them, all right? This is a second home for them, and I think that's a great testament to what we do. So the idea of getting to know you starts right off the very beginning when you submit an inquiry to Rundle College. Okay? And so many of you will have attended an information session with maybe with Lynn Scott or with Natalie Powell, or even with myself. And once you start that information session, we then try to give you as much information as you will need at that time to move forward to the next stage of our process. And the next stage of our process is for you to submit an application if you're ready. And to do that, you would head to our website, you would submit the application, pay the application fee, and then we would send you an email that will document a checklist. And many of you, the audience, will be sitting tonight saying, yep, done that, got that, okay, great, I've done my checklist, perfect. And then you'll see the closing date for applications is November 15th. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that and what that looks like. So here at the college for grades 7 through 12, we use some standardized testing, okay? So that we use the SSAT test. The SSAT stands for Secondary Schools Admission Test. It's a standardized test that the leading independent schools in North America use. Okay? The reason that we really like the SSAT test is we think it's equitable, it's fair, and it's standardized. So it means that a student who is coming to us from New York, and a student who's coming from Toronto, and a student who's coming from Aspen all have the same opportunity through that test. Okay? It's the only part of our application process, though, that is not controlled by us. So yes, we host SSAT tests here at Rundle, but we are not in charge of them. That is an independent company called the Enrollment Management Association. So when you go to register for an SSAT test, you would do that directly through the test host. So you would go to ssat.org, you would select your test date, and then you would simply enter our school code, which is 6198. That's on the website as well, so you don't feel like you have to scribble that down, and then the results will come to us. That's an important point because I always want to make sure that families know that there's no pressure to attend the test at Rundle to come to Rundle. Okay, you could take a test date at Strathcona Tweedsmuir, at Weber, online, on vacation, I don't know, wherever you want to take the test. Doesn't matter, the results will come to us. Okay? The second thing is people say, well, how important is the SSAT test, Greg? Is it the only thing that we look for in an application? And the answer is absolutely not. It is important to us. It's a part of our process. I often explain to prospective families, though, that our application process is like building a jigsaw puzzle. Okay? Every piece of the application needs one little piece of the puzzle, and we build a picture of your child through that. Okay? One piece of the puzzle impacts it. Yeah, we can't see the whole picture, but it isn't make or break. Okay? And ultimately, what we're looking for is we're looking for students who are academically able, but are able well beyond what their capabilities in the classroom are. We're looking for students who are kind, who are conscientious, who can give back, who we think would be a positive contributor to our community. Okay? That's what Rundle are looking for. We pride ourselves on that. So yes, the SSAT test is important, but it is not the be-all and end-all. The second thing, people say, can we study for the SSAT test? The answer is no, not really. It's a standardized test, which means that it should be a fair experience regardless of what education you have had up until that point. Okay? The test is graded, it's weighted. So that means that our students in grade 9 who are taking the same test as an applicant in grade 11, okay, when you apply for that test and you enter the details, they mark it in a way that is fair for that student. Okay? So it's graded and it's weighted, and so the results that come back to us are representative of that student's ability. Okay? Kind of digress there a little bit, but I think that's an important point about SSAT. So it is an important piece of the puzzle for us. We use it to make sure that our students can come in and hit the ground running and achieve success academically here at Rundle, but it is not the only thing we're looking for. Okay? And I'm really proud of that. We look for well more than just simply results and great report cards here at Rundle. Okay? After you've completed the application, that November closing date is important, because if you submit the application by November 15, then you are then able to be considered in our first round of placements. Okay? There's only two ways that you can find a space at an independent school. The first way is by natural growth. Okay? So starting with 45 in kindergarten, graduating 84 in grade 12. So there's natural growth. The second way is through students leaving. Okay? Now we won't know that until about February time. So that first round of placements, you'll often find those placements going out late December, early January. Okay? The second batch of placements happen mid-February onwards. Okay? To be determined to be a completed application, you do not have to have the SSAT test completed. Okay? You just have to have it booked. Okay? That's a really important point, because there's a lot of tests that are happening. For example, we're hosting a test in December, and we're hosting another one in February here. So sometimes people say, well, there's no test before November 15th. That's okay. As long as you complete the application, you've got all of the checklists submitted, and you've got the SSAT test booked, then that's a completed application. Okay? Once we get to that point, our team then diligently review every application. It's really, really important as well. If you take the time to put the application into us, we take the time to look at it carefully. Part of that application is a little video. Okay, so some of you may have gone through this process before, so we change our little video question every year. We're not looking for it to be a Hollywood production. Okay, it should be filmed on a phone. It's an insight into that student for us. Okay, we like students that have a little bit of character. Okay, we're not looking for robots. All right, that's what makes a school community unique. If you have every single student who's the same, it's really, really hard to have a thriving community. Okay? So we're looking for students, we're called what we call a generalist program. We're looking for students who thrive in the gym, in volleyball and basketball, who are into art, who love to play music, who are passionate about speech and debate. That's what we're looking for. We have students every year who go to Ivy League schools on full ride scholarships for any of those things, but we don't hang our hat on one of them. Okay? So be you, basically, is the answer to that. The final step of the application is that if we have availability and we deem you to be a great fit for our community and vice versa, then we'll send you an invite to interview. And sometimes people say, well, tell me about that. And if I could change one thing about our application process, I wouldn't call it an interview. Okay? Because I feel like an interview is like a job interview. You get the job or you don't get the job. And that's not the case. Actually, what I tell families is that the interview is as much a time for you to ask me questions and to determine if we're the right fit for you than it is the other way around. We've done our work by then. We know you're a great fit. But we want you to believe in it too. Okay? A huge part of Rundle's process is based on trust. You're trusting us with your child in incredibly important times. We know there's a lot of choice out there. And so we want to make sure that you, when you're looking at us, think, yeah, this is the right school for my family. After that, if your student is accepted, we kind of wrap up that process by making sure that we give you next steps. So every one of our new students goes through a really thorough process of kind of bedding in, of settling in, and we partner you up with a current student, a buddy. We'll have events prior to the school year where you'll come in, you'll refamiliarize yourself with Rundle. Ultimately, we don't want too many sleepless nights. I know there's going to be a few, but we want as few as possible. As I said, we pride ourselves on getting to know you as a family. We pride ourselves on taking every one of our applications seriously and considering it and making sure that we are trying to add people to our community that live by our values of being kind, being curious, and being well. Okay? Please note the curiosity word, not being smart, not getting great grades, of being curious. There's a difference. Okay? For too long, education has been solely focused on attainment, which means grades only, and we have forgotten the achievement piece. And one of the things, if you ask me what are you most proud of, Greg, about working at Rundle, I would say that, honestly, Rundle do an exceptional job. We do such a great job at celebrating our students' achievements as well as their attainments. Before I ask for questions, I'm going to leave you with a phrase that our kids roll their eyes at me every time we say this. Jason and myself, someone will say this, they go, oh my gosh, here we go again. We say, when you graduate, your grades should be exceptional, but they should be the least exceptional thing about you. Okay? And they're like, oh my gosh, here we go. Right? The point being, though, if you think about that, it's about what else can we do with all of those hours that we have your child in our company to make sure that they graduate as an exceptional young person who also is very smart and very capable in class. Okay? So that's a bit of a very brief overview. I'm really keen to open up the floor to some questions. If I can't answer your question, there's a chance I can't answer your question, then I'll certainly connect with you afterwards and make sure I give you an answer to that. If nothing else, I'm really hopeful that you kind of understanding what our process looks like in that flow right now, from inquiry all the way through to acceptance. Okay, you understand the SSAT piece, you understand the November 15th date. Is there anything I can answer anyone in the audience? Anyone have a question? Yes, please.
What type of student would you say is a good fit for Rundle?
I promise I didn't pay for that question to be asked. That is the perfect question. Unfortunately, I don't have one answer. So I have a common theme, I'll give you that, but I don't have one answer. Again, that comes back to the diversity piece, right, of the generalist program. I'm looking for students who are exceptional in different areas, because that's what contributes to your community. But the key piece in that is that they are proud of themselves. We're looking for kids that will come in and give everything they've got to the process and be proud of the fact that they can apply themselves in that way. I talk a lot about process versus outcome, okay, to our students. School is really one big process. Okay, we have to follow, we have to trust the process, and if our students who do best here apply themselves fully to that, they don't get hung up on their grade, but they trust the fact that if they go through the process, if they try their best in class, if they listen, if they work with our teachers, if they go and ask for help when they need it, then they'll achieve. So I'm always looking for students who I think are proud of themselves and proud of that I think they will be able to really trust their process. I'm not sure that's a great answer, but it's certainly the one thing that came to mind for me. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
How often do you guys update the content for those optional programs? And is it kind of based on interest of all the students? Like I have a lot of students interested in science, so I'm going to devote more resources to that program. Or the other way, the school thinks this is more important. Let's say language is very important, so I'm going to devote more resources to that language optional program.
It's another wonderful question. So again, we are very conscious as a leading independent school that we have to make sure that we set up our students for success beyond school. And so a lot of the times that we're choosing our elective programs, it is as a reaction to what we think our graduating student should require, the skills that they require. Okay. So for example, if I can give you an example, that just this year we launched our Ideas program. Okay. And the reason for that was because we had a number of students in our junior high that were incredibly passionate about computer science and about coding, but we didn't feel that we had the appropriate platform for them to develop those skills further in senior high and then go on post-secondary to that. So we developed resources there. But again, when we look at our program holistically, we want to make sure that we have opportunities for every single one of our students, regardless of their passions. Some schools will hang their hat on STEM programs. STEM is really, really important. Some schools will say we're an athletics school, so our athletics are first class. Don't worry about us if you're really passionate about the arts. Some schools are the other way. They're fully focused on their drama and their art and their music and their art programs. But for us, we want to make sure that we are kind of overlapping there. Okay, and we've got examples and everything. And of course, it also comes down to our teachers' passions as well. We're incredibly proud of our staff, and many times they come forward with us to say, hey, we think there's a need here to do this, and so can you support that? And the answer is yes. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh dear. Okay, well, so next steps. Tonight, I hope, when we set up an open house, my big focus is that it is truly that. It is an opportunity for you to be curious, to use our own word, okay, to be nosy, to discover what's happening across our campus. You'll see that we have over 200 students here tonight, okay? I fed them all pizza earlier. It's like the biggest Domino's bill I've ever had in my whole life, but they deserve it. So they're here, and they're in our classrooms, and they'll give you the honest answer. And I told them that. I said, please, if nothing else tonight, just be honest. Ask them what their favorite part of Rundle is. Ask them what their least favorite part of Rundle is. I'm serious. I think there's this is, really important to me that an open house should be transparent. It should be a lens into what happens in here every single day. Our kids love coming to school on the whole. Not every day, but they love coming to school. Okay? And honestly, I think if we can showcase that this evening, then we've at least left you with an impression of what we do. In terms of next steps, if you are interested in asking further questions and you'd rather not ask in front of everyone, please don't hesitate to come and find myself. Natalie Powell is outside as well. She's in charge of our 7 through 10 program, 7 through 12 program. And yeah, head to our website. We have all of our predicted availability on our website, all of our next steps as well. And if nothing else, admissions@rundle.ab.ca is the go-to email address, and our wonderful Jill will forward it to the right person. Okay? Thank you so much. If you would like to stick around for the student live presentation, that will be happening in 5 minutes. And if not, then enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.